I want to add that about INEOS and the new board, right? Because they're getting a lot of hate, a lot of shit for like, I feel no reason. They're
Oh,
obviously they've taken some really drastic steps. I'm not going to deny. See,
yeah,
ticket prices, the redundancies, taking away the free lunches, so to say,
yeah, yeah.
quite literally. But I think that's just cleaning up the mess that the Glazers have done for so many years.
Welcome to the show, everybody, and welcome long-time friend of this podcast and friend of mine, Annujj, from where now? What can we say? From where? From MUSCM, United Supporters Group, from Mumbai City,
I
from
think MUSCM has been the only constant, I think, somehow. I don't
uh,
know how, but
that is true. MUSCM is the only other constant. The other, to a certain
yes,
extent,
of course, Dada
but
will always be a part of this. I
the
mean,
other will
it's in
always
the blood. It's in the blood.
even though I'm in Powai now, the other is still a feeling.
Yeah,
It is.
you can take the man out of the other, but
You cannot take the dadar out of the man. My wife
exactly.
has tried very hard. She has failed, but she has tried.
Cheers, day.
How is it going, my man? Good to see you. How
Good to
has
see you
life
again.
been?
Life has been good. It's been fun. Being a Man United fan has not been helping that, but it's been fun. Good to be back on the corner flag. I think it's been what 5, 6, 7 years since the last.
Probably. No, no, it
Yeah,
can't have been that long also, yeah.
it was definitely before COVID. So
It was definitely before
yeah,
COVID. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
It was quite a lot of time before COVID because I remember you came to the second to last Weird Ass office
that's
where
correct.
we were shooting
That's
the
correct. Yes.
episode.
Yeah, but
And then after that we
we've done a few cool things from then to now. So
Yeah,
good to
that's
be
true.
back.
Yes,
Good to
yes.
be back.
One of those cool things, of course, is this. I'm wearing the
Yes.
Mumbai City jersey. My relationship with the club on a professional level started because of you, Anuj, because we made that happen, and it's
Yeah,
been ongoing. Touch wood, it's been going good, even though
that's good.
you're not there anymore, and we miss you dearly.
I mean, I'm always there. Just
That's
last
true.
week, I was in the stand for the Mohun Bagan game.
Yeah,
We'll touch upon that later.
we
But
were.
I think for me, it's I'm always going to be around in some capacity. I may not be working with the club anymore, but like United, I mean, it's just another football team that I'm not going to let go of so easily, even
Right.
though they've been
Yeah,
subpar.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the annoying bit, man, because last season or any
yeah,
season before this, when United have not been playing well, you could always fall back on Mumbai City FC and be like, actually, I'm a Mumbai City fan, because it is my local club and all.
yeah, yeah.
I live 7,000 kilometers away from Manchester, but I live like 10 kilometers away from Mumbai City Stadium. So, there is more resonance there. But this season, yaar, wo bhi outlet nahi hai apne paas.
Yeah, I think life just took away that option too. You
Yeah,
just suffer.
yeah,
You had too
absolutely.
much fun. Now it's time to suffer.
Full suffrage. Let's begin with
Yeah.
part one of the suffrage,
Yep.
which is United versus Fulham at Old Trafford, FA Cup fifth round. In absolute, uh, what is expected of United, started off kind of promising, and then Calvin Bassey's header,
Yeah.
puts Fulham 1-0 up just before halftime, which is a very bad scoreline to go into halftime on. And
Yeah.
let's start with that goal also. Three at the back, do you think is working or not? Like, we know Maguire is playing really well under Amarim and in Amarim's system. We know Lenny Oro has a lot of
Oh.
potential. We've been very unlucky with injuries. So excuses are there, but the question still comes back to this, which is three at the back working for us?
At the moment, no. I mean, you would be stupid to say yes, to be honest. But I think that's the way forward. I think Amorim has been very, very, very clear and very articulate about the fact that he's not going to change.
Yeah.
And if you see any of these Twitter threads or Reddit subreddits of the sporting fans, their description of how Amarim was when he came to Sporting, it's the exact same. I mean, I see no difference from what the early days at Sporting were and the early days now at United are. I think it's just like, and it's not that he's not warned us, right? He told us there is going to be
Yeah.
suffering from now till the end of the season, and not just from a tactical standpoint, but the amazing financial situation that our wonderful football club is in.
Yeah.
Put all that together, yeah, I think we are going to be in for a long 10, 12 games. I don't know whatever's left of the season now.
Yeah. You know, the
But
annoying bit also is every time you feel like we cannot get any lower than this. Like, you remember
wait,
2013, 2014 season, Moyes' first season in charge, we finished seventh, and we were like, fuck, kya din aa
yeah,
gaye, seventh in the league. How is Man United in this position? You know, it cannot get any worse than this. And cut to now, we're 15th.
it
There are
did.
talks of us being in a relegation fight.
Yeah.
The only silver lining is, for real, it feels like it absolutely logically cannot get any worse than this.
I
Or
mean,
can it?
don't tempt me with this, please. I do not want to watch championship on fan code next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Shout out to fan code, by the way.
Shout out to fan code.
But no, man, I don't know. I mean, you're right. This was, I think, the Moyes season was off the back of like 5 years of us mocking Liverpool for not finishing in the top four, and then
Yeah.
suddenly it happens to you.
Yeah.
Okay, one season you have Van Gaal come in and cut to where are we now? 13 years, 12
Yeah.
years from then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Last night, honestly, I was watching the game with some of the MUSCM guys, Sunil and the others,
Yeah.
and I think for majority of the game, mostly the second half, I was like this, like I didn't know what I was watching.
Yeah. It
Even
was,
though we had some good chances at the end, but
yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
But what is, according to you, the issue here? Because we are seeing players who have performed really well for us just lack that creative spark.
Yeah.
Right. At no point in the last, I would say, 3 years, including, two of Ten Hag's, and whatever this year has been under Amarim, or half of this year has been under Amarim, we have never seen a team where everybody has worked, everything has gelled. Something or the other keeps happening, right? Something or the other is, when Bruno's performing, nobody else is. When Garnacho's performing, nobody else is, even including Bruno.
Yeah.
When the defense is doing really well, we can't attack. When the attack is doing really well, the defense is making terrible errors. When we had De Gea was the problem. Now
Yeah.
we've got Onana is also the problem. When we tried 4 at the back, that was a problem. We are trying 3 at the back, that's also, like, everything. And outside of all of that, when everything seems to be working, long-term injuries to Martinez, long-term injuries to Shaw. So, matlab, long-term injury is a default state.
It's a short-term career.
It's a short-term, yeah, it's a short-term career. So, what is the issue? And surely it can't just be manager or player or owners. Like, how does one solve this?
No, I think, see, the mind of a footballer is extremely, extremely fickle. You put them in the wrong or slightly negative environment or atmosphere, it is going to show. And we have the choicest of players, like Garnacho, who's running off to the dressing room and uploading a story, or you have Bruno throwing his arms around in the pitch. I just don't think that's a good place to be in at the moment.
Yeah.
United, it's just not. You can't imagine anybody there who is happy at this point, and that's for a multiple list of reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just the thing, right? You're right. One thing works, the other thing doesn't. It has to be. It's looking increasingly harder that everything is going to click, because there's always a new problem, and it's not the same problem. Right? Just a new problem. PSR is being thrown around now. Now you have potentially the stadium being rebuilt or redeveloped, and that's going to add another financial strain onto the club.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long, long ride. I know that they've said that they want to win the Premier League by 2028.
कैसे होगा?
Let's see.
कैसे होगा? It doesn't seem realistic at all. Like, it's one thing for new owners and new CEOs to aim for the stars and aim for the moon or whatever, but realistically speaking, with the way things are going,
I want to add that about INEOS and the new board, right? Because they're getting a lot of hate, a lot of shit for I feel no reason. Obviously they've taken some really drastic steps. I am not going to deny. See, the ticket prices, the redundancies, taking away the free lunches, so to say, quite literally. But I think that's just cleaning up the mess that the Glazers have done for so many years. there was one claim by one of the, I think, a Guardian journalist. I could be wrong. I need to verify this. But if the 250 million cash influx from Sir Jim Ratcliffe had not come, we would have been looking at a real possibility of administration by now. And you remember back in
Mm.
the days what happened to Portsmouth and then Leeds
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
Rangers in the Scottish League. I would much rather take this than being put into administration and sent down to League Two or League
Absolutely,
One, whatever.
absolutely. But
So,
now, okay, I'm glad that you brought up the topic of the new ownership under
uh,
INEOS, right? Because I I do want to know from a lot of the people that I talk to what their thoughts and opinions are about the INEOS ownership, right?
uh,
Because is it reaching a point where a lot of the United fan base is happy with the INEOS ownership as of today or
uh,
as of when we are recording this, right? Are they just happy about the INEOS ownership and are letting them do whatever they're doing, regardless of the drastic measures that they've taken, only because they're not the Glazers? And we have been through such a shit time under the Glazers that right now anybody who is not the Glazers is a welcome change. Is that the rose tinted glass that is just kind of obstructing our view on an ownership that may actually not be beneficial to the club in the long run? And the reason I ask this is because Ineos's ownership of a footballing
uh,
club has not been exactly successful, right? Like with Nice, they're not setting
yeah.
whatever
No.
League Un on fire. There are a lot of issues that the Nice fans are raising against that ownership as well. The way they've dealt with that club has not been great, and one can say, okay, we can consider Nice as almost like a testing phase
Uh,
for Ineos. Just dipping their toes into the pool, just seeing what it's
yeah.
like, and they're taking the learnings from that experience into the Manchester United framework, considering it is more local to them. It's
Right.
not. It's in their own league. It's in their own country. It is a club that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is also a fan of. There is more of an emotional connect,
Uh,
etc., etc., etc. But what the man is not understanding is basic PR, right?
yeah.
Right now, for whatever reason, United are always going to be a massive story for journalists everywhere.
Exactly.
Anything we do is
Exactly.
going to be picked up. In the middle of this, taking these drastic measures is not going to look right, and it has not looked right, because you're thinking that, okay, you're basically cutting 250 jobs
Uh,
of regular hardworking people who are not even on that high a wage to begin with. You're canceling their lunches or their canteen access or whatever. You're increasing ticket prices,
uh,
etc., etc. And how much are you going to end up saving? You're going to end up saving about 1 month of Casemiro's wages. Like, that is the comparison that has been made online. More than that, you're doing all of these things, but you spent 5 months trying to get Dan Ashworth into a role, and then within 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months,
yeah.
or whatever, sacked him, paid him off as well. You did one massive internal audit of whether Eric Ten Hag is the right man for
Uh,
the job. At the start, apparently Jim Ratcliffe, and again, this could also be good PR from him. He is saying that मेरे को तो नहीं चाहिए था वो, पर Dan Ashworth बोला कि नहीं वो अच्छा है, इसलिए we gave him a few extra months. So you extended his contract, you gave him a few extra months only to sack him and pay him off as well. Now those are expenditures that could have been and should have been avoided by a competent footballing
uh,
ownership, don't you think?
uh. I think, see, there's two points to that, right? The PR angle, we are never going to run away from it. Like you
Yeah,
said, we are the biggest story for
yeah,
anybody everywhere in the world, any news channel, particularly in England, particularly with the famous British media.
yeah,
So there's no running away from it. No matter, sorry, even if he goes out and, I don't know, man, does some great charity work, the media is going to find some spin to it, something to it to to, to target the club. But having said that, I think just let me bring up that Nice point. Yes, they've not done a great, like a world changing job, life changing job at Nice, and you're right. I think that was maybe like a, not a tester, I would say, but they definitely learned their lessons from it. I think the
yeah,
team that he's assembled here, obviously, Sir Dave Brailsford was the common link who's been with him since before, but with Omar Berrada, with now obviously Dan Ashworth is not there anymore, but Jason Wilcox and the host of other players. I think we've just appointed a new head of recruitment in the last week as well, who's with the club on a short term. So it's like a new management at a company, and it's to think of it. This is we're only 7 months or 8 months into their first full season in charge. Because last season when they came in, I believe this is what they might have said that this season जैसा चल रहा है चलने
Right
दो,
off. Yeah.
and we'll take over full control or whatever is up to us from next season.
Yeah.
Dan Ashworth was the first mistake that you make, which is fine. I think everybody deserves like a few uh, mistakes, like cock ups at the start. So Dan Ashworth was one. But I think the point you made as to all the cuts and the redundancies is equivalent to Casemiro's week's wage. That makes for good reading. But if
Yeah,
the
it's
club
it's
is
correct. Yeah,
yeah
I get what you're
if,
saying. Like,
yeah
it's not a realistic comparison to
yeah
make.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
No, it could be also. You never know. But the fact of the matter is that any football club, and especially in this day and age, I feel the if money is coming in, the first place where money will be spent is the footballing department or the technical department.
Yeah.
Everything else is secondary at this point. Especially when you're in a situation where you need to cut costs,
Yeah.
where you need to quite literally save your ass.
Yeah.
And look at us, we're what, 15th in the league, we're out of the FA Cup. Europa League looks very grim with Sociedad. So
Yeah.
the only way you survive this and the only way you enter the summer with some money to spend is if you make the Champions League, for which you'll have to win Europa,
Yeah.
which is highly unlikely. So you're imagining a situation where you're finishing 15th in the league, where the payoff is somewhere, I think, around 15 to 20 million.
Is nothing.
Which is nothing for a club of United
Yeah.
size,
Yeah.
and whatever you get from the TV rights
Yeah.
separately. So you don't have money. There is no foreseeable source of regular like income coming in. How much can you sustain on merchandising and your brand, right?
Yeah.
I know United's a big brand, but you need money coming in from the competitions and the sponsors on the basis of those competitions. So it's going to take some time. They're going to look like bad guys. I definitely know this is not going to be easy. Now there is good. I'm sure there's going to be more chaos once the stadium plan is announced.
Yeah.
Which I want to ask you, by the way. We'll get to that later. But you see Arsenal for 10 years, 20 years after building Emirates, are still kind of struggling in that sense. Tottenham, they're not a serious club, but
Yeah.
they also have that problem now. So,
Yeah.
and all signs at this point look like a new stadium as opposed to a redeveloped or a increased capacity Old Trafford. So it's going to lay a major financial
Yeah.
strain on the club. So
But
it
but
is
that's
it is what it
that's
is.
that's what I feel like. Right, you said that every new ownership is allowed a few cock ups at the
Uh,
start. I feel
uh,
like this is after Dan Ashworth, and after maybe you can consider the
yeah,
redundancies as a cock up. But again, we don't know what the books actually look like, right? So
yeah.
maybe they're right as business people who
Uh,
are, are qualified to be doing the jobs that they're doing, uh, uh, as opposed to us fans who are sitting here. They probably have a better understanding of how
yeah.
they need to balance the books and what methods they need to use. But I
Mm.
feel like building a new Trafford is a big problem. Why? Why are you thinking of upgrading a 76,000 seater stadium? Right? Yes, United games have a lot of demand, big brand, global fan base. I
Uh,
get that. But realistically, what is that extra seating going to get you? 76,000 is a lot. It's a
no.
big stadium
Yeah.
already. Like, till I think the new Wembley came about, we were the biggest stadium in England, if
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. Right. And I feel like even the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is what, 60,000?
I'm just checking that.
65 maybe. I don't think it's as big as Old Trafford. You
Just
don't really need a
you're right. Yeah.
bigger stadium, right? Like, I understand when Highbury
Uh,
had to close down and they had to move into the Emirates, because
yeah.
Highbury was not a big stadium. It was still one of those old school English stadiums which
Huh.
had a lot of charm, but it was an old stadium. So them building a new stadium made sense.
Huh.
I don't know why Tottenham built the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because I just feel like they wanted a shinier trophy cabinet to be empty. I think that's the only reason why that stadium was built. United does not need a new fucking stadium. Fix the current stadium. All right.
Yeah. I
मतलब
don't.
वाटरप्रूफिंग करने के लिए अर्बन कंपनी से मंगाओ किसी को यार. वो मैं घर के लिए मंगाता हूँ. ग्राउटिंग का इशू है भाई. ये स्टेडियम अपग्रेड का जरूरत नहीं है. तुम लोग उसमें you are going to spend so much time and money and efforts into this, and you're going to get rid of a historic site, which is probably not going to go down well with fans. And exactly the point that you said, after building the Emirates, what has Arsenal done? Sweet fuck all. After moving into the London Stadium, what has West Ham done? One Europa Conference League. Like, that is the one flash in the pan season that they had. What has Spurs done after building a new stadium?
Did they win that?
West Ham won the Conference League.
Oh yeah, West Ham. So sorry, I thought you
Not
said
Spurs.
Spurs.
Not
Huh.
Spurs.
Yeah,
That's what Spurs have done nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it what are you going to promise the fans? Like West Ham, I understand the promise was we'll move into the London Stadium from Upton Park. It's a big stadium, you know, Olympic Stadium, so more seats.
Yeah, but they didn't really build it, so it's.
Didn't really, yeah, correct. But it was still moving from a historic stadium, right? And the promise was, look, we are West Ham. We are not a Premier League winning side. We have tended to be a yo-yo club over the past few seasons, but this is the direction that we want to go in.
Yeah.
This is what we want to aspire to. And we are going to give you better games here against better opposition in Europe, etc., etc. And they kind of delivered on that promise by winning the Conference League.
Yeah.
Whether they build on that or not, we don't know. The same promise was made by Spurs as well. They haven't delivered on that promise yet. What is United going to promise the fans by getting them a better stadium experience? Like, I feel like, having been to Old Trafford, I feel like the framework is there. You just need to upgrade it. You don't need to build a new stadium.
See, I think it's a matter also of optics, right? For a club of United's size and stature, like you said, I don't think capacity is not a problem. TK, we'll upgrade it to 100,000. Like the new stadium would be 100,000. So you're going to get whatever extra revenue from it. But I think it's a matter of building something which is modern, which suits the brand, which suits the stature of the club is. And plus, you look at what Spurs have done, right?
The stature of the club, if you're talking about stature of the club, then Upton Park is empty right now. We can move there because fucking 15th in the league. Like, you need to, I feel, fix your on the pitch issues first. Become the brand that you have promised to be, no? Or that you once were. You have become that brand because of how you performed on the pitch. Now, you are in that position where you're not performing as well on the pitch, you're performing terribly. But the brand still kind of exists. But it's only a matter of time before that brand also dies out. In fact, I was having this conversation with somebody just earlier today. We were talking about fan clubs, right? We were talking about Man City fans. We make fun of how there's no Man City fans in India. And rightly so, because why the fuck would there be?
Yeah.
Right? But that's going to change now. That's going to change because the kids who are growing up now, who are, you know, getting used to the Premier League now, are going to see Man City as the dominating side. They're going to see...
This is what happened with us, yeah.
This is what happened with us. In the 90s, when we started supporting United, it's because they were a fucking sexy side to support. They were the dominants of the Premier League. Same thing's going to happen now. Fucking Pep Guardiola hai, Haaland hai, this, that, Ballon d'Or winner in Rodri. They have all of this fancy stadium, etc., etc. They're building that brand now because of their on-the-pitch successes. Your on-the-pitch successes here are only not there. What are you, servicing the brand for? You get into a position where on the pitch you're consistently delivering fucking title after... I'm not even going to be satisfied with top 4. Deliver title after title, become the dominant force in English football again, and then think about building a new stadium. Now we've earned this. Otherwise, you fucking deserve that Old Trafford. You deserve the leaky roofs. Right? You cannot be like, nay, we are 15th in the league, but look, shiny new stadium. Because at the end of the day, no, Anuj, what's going to happen is the new stadium is going to affect the fans. Right now, a ticket is what, 45-50 pounds.
Yeah, which is now they've increased it, right, to
They've
60,
increased it to 60 or something.
66.
न्यू
Yeah.
स्टेडियम आ गया ना तो 100 पाउंड्स के नीचे तेरे को जनरल एडमिशन टिकट मिलेगा ही नहीं. 10,000 रुपए का टिकट ब्रो. 10,000 रुपए का
Just to
टिकट.
think of it, yeah.
And for that you will get some last row. तेरे को आधा स्टेडियम दिखेगा भी नहीं.
Yeah.
What is that experience?
Yeah.
You know, it's not fun.
enjoyable anymore. Yeah.
You're going to end up paying fucking 15 pounds, 20 pounds for a pint of beer.
True.
2,000 रुपए का beer, bro. Like, for a team that cannot beat Fulham, coming back full circle to what we were talking about, it makes no sense.
It's crazy. I think the only good thing that might come out of a new stadium is the additional revenue, which I feel we could
Probably
do with right now.
Yeah,
is the only thing. But again, that's 5 years from now, 4 years from now when the stadium actually gets done.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you're right. I mean, logically speaking, there is absolutely no need for a new stadium at this moment, given the state that our club is in.
Yeah.
But see, the thing was from 77,000 where we are right now, it can only go up to 87 if we redevelop the current stadium. We're only adding about 9,000, 10,000 seats.
But that's what I'm saying. No, don't add the seats. Use that money to fix the leaking roof. Use that money to upgrade the concourse levels. You know, it's a cosmetic upgrade at the end of the day. No, you don't need shiny glass exterior with LED images of the players, or you don't need all of that jhatakness. For a fan to experience a great day out or a night out at Old Trafford, you need to make sure that their experience from the time they set foot on the concourse to the time they insert their membership card at the turnstile and go in, to the time they see the pitch for the first time, take their seat, at halftime go back into the concourse to get a drink or something to eat, and go back, and when they leave, that entire experience needs to be world class.
You're forgetting one very important part of the
on the pitch.
The shit that happens on the pitch.
But if you're talking only about stadium, that experience you need to upgrade. You don't need a brand new stadium for that. You can very easily upgrade the experience with the real estate that you already have. That's the way I look at it. 9,000 or even 20,000 new seats, you're not going to get that, because if you keep performing this way, वो 20,000 सीट बिकेगा कैसे भाई?
Last night we had so many spares were available. Last night against Ipswich.
हम लोग भी empty आदि बनेंगे ना. At the end of the day, we don't want that. We pride ourselves. We just keep capacity low so that it's always packed.
It looks full.
It's a life hack, guys.
Yeah, 40 chess.
Yeah. But coming back to things that happen on the pitch, right? Like from the last game, I wanted to specifically mention Josh Zirkzee because United played really well to get back into a contention for the game after a goal that they really shouldn't have let in. But, shit happens. Great goal from Bruno, all-round good team play, lovely goal to watch. And you felt like they would build on this. And Josh Zirkzee was at the heart of everything. I feel like that boy had one of his best games in a United shirt. And this is not discounting the 2 goals he scored against Everton. So he's had games where he scored, but this game, he ran the show in that slightly deep lying forward role. He was running the show. He was very tough to take the ball off. He was holding up play really well. He was putting in great through balls. Garnacho's finishing should have been a lot better. But all in all, I just felt Zirkzee had a game that he would never want to forget. And then he misses the penalty in the shootout, which would make him kind of want to forget. Now, the reason I bring Josh Zirkzee is because for a lot of United fans, he is the poster boy of ineptitude at Man United. He's the first player that everybody loves to jump on, which I don't really agree with, man. He's a kid.
To be fair, I think that has changed over the last, I would say, 5-6 games.
I feel like it.
You think?
Like how you said footballers are fickle. I think football fans, especially United fans, are way fickle.
Worse.
Abhi immediately after this game, people will be saying Ballon d'Or de do Zirkzee ko. Next game he will not play well. No, he's like, fuck off, nikalo isko. Like, I don't trust fan opinion anymore at all. Like, fuck that.
Same. Yeah.
But therein lies the problem. Don't you think that a lot of this noise that is generated, and of course we live in a social media economy right now. Everybody and
Has an
their
opinion.
dog has an opinion that they want to monetize.
Uh,
The more engagement you get, the more chances of getting fucking monetized, right? Twitter
yeah,
has done that. तुम लोग बेंचो 800 रुपए महीना के लिए ब्लू टिक खरीदो, फिर 10,000 वगैरह लाइक्स मिला तो तेरे को पैसा मिलेगा. That is basically
correct.
it. So now
Yeah,
you're click baiting and link like
yeah, yeah.
farming or whatever it's called. So it's very easy to fucking get on the backs of these players who are not well because they become banter content.
Uh,
How does that make a player feel? And how much do you feel like all of this behavior from so-called quote unquote fans
uh.
is adding to the toxicity and the bad vibes at the club, which
Oh,
is
definitely.
in turn not letting the players perform to their full potential.
See what I said at the start. You need a good environment. All of this is contributing to not having that good environment. And players read.
Yeah.
Players, a professional footballer, obviously at that level they would have like a bunch of commitments and things to do. But when they're not, they are no different from you and I. They are on
Yeah.
their phone
Yeah.
and they read. Even though they might be social, like morally or contractually obligated not to respond to everything, they read. Now, I definitely want to just like take a moment and applaud what Zirkzee has done because I think there's only two players in this team, or maybe three if you count Bruno. There's only two players in this team who have actually taken literally quite taken it on the chin and have come out better. Harry Maguire
Yeah.
and Joshua Zirkzee.
Yeah.
Zirkzee was booed off at Old Trafford
Yeah.
30 minutes into the game against Newcastle, and then from then to scoring the winning penalty against Arsenal to dropping these games. I know they're not against a big level of opposition. He's not doing that against City or Liverpool week in, week out. But the last 4 or 5 games, Fulham, Switch, and then a few more games before that, I think he's been the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And kudos to him, man. I mean, he's a young guy. He's 22, 23. He's definitely one of the more. Sorry, they're in the know what's happening. They're reading everything. They're seeing
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But to take that and channel it in the right way, hats off to him, man. I mean, you need players like him. You need players like Maguire. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
done well ever since Amarim's come in, comparatively.
Yeah.
But kudos to them, man. And I think we just had this debate just last week on another show that Sunil and I did about whether Bruno. You know what's going on with Roy Keane saying all those things about Bruno, right?
Nonsense.
But I mean, taking away from all the amazing descriptive words that he chose to use, I still feel we need a better captain, a leader in this team who
Yes.
can hold these these young minds. Like you have Garnacho, you have Zuggsy, you have Hoyland, you have Chido Obi obviously coming in now, and he had what a game he had last night.
Lovely game.
But
Very unlucky to not
y-
score.
seriously, but you need a captain, you need a leader with the right mentality. Now that we were talking about summer recruitment when this topic came up, and what kind of a player are United going to go for? Oh, will they get Gyökeres? I honestly don't care. I don't care if we sign a James Ward-Prowse,
Hmm.
but I want the leader in that team because that's the only way this team is going to come together, and then you will know who's going to stick and who's not. Because
But
at this point, everyone's doing their own thing.
but who, according to you, fits that leader archetype, right? Because
Yeah.
in the current squad, though, I don't see anybody apart from a Maguire or a Bruno, and we know that Maguire as a captain was not great,
Hmm.
and that's nothing against him. I think it's just the rest of the squad just couldn't believe that Harry Maguire was their captain.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he hadn't done anything yet
Hmm.
to be deserving of that role. Now, with his performances and with the experience that he has, one can say that, okay,
Hmm.
you give him the armband and people will listen. The other is Bruno with the kind of performances that he's pulled from the time he signed for United. He is the one player who is senior enough, who is vocal enough that other players around him, especially the young players, will listen to. The problem is, if you're going to recruit somebody new just to be a leader, that's not going to work, no, because the players who are there are going to be like, "Arey, tere ko kya pata?
No,
What
he
do you
doesn't.
know about the
Correct.
culture of this club?"
Fair enough, and I think somebody said the exact same thing. You don't need him to wear the armband straight in, right? You sign
Yeah.
him this summer.
Yeah.
He's going to be an imposing figure in that dressing room. Let him be there for 2 years, 1 year, 2 year, and then who knows? Like there's a future captain in there. I had that feeling about Ugarte when he came in, but I feel it's just again it's been only 6 7 months, but language, culture, just the kind of shit show that he's found himself in.
Yeah.
But he's got that. He's got that thoda Roy
That vibe.
Keane,
Yeah.
Roy Keane-ness to him.
I have a solution. I have a great solution. बोनोबो के बाहर एक बाउंसर खड़ा रहता है, उसको डाल दो ड्रेसिंग रूम में, जस्ट लाइक दिस, जस्ट टू बी द इम्पोजिंग फिगर. Or if you have a little more money to spend, Dwayne the Rock Johnson is probably not doing too many films right now. He might have a little time on his hands. Usko le aao. He'll pull his Carlo Ancelotti and
Yeah.
everybody will fall in line.
Man, I wish we had somebody like that right now. Seriously,
Right. But
magically.
yeah, I mean that is predominantly one of the things that United do need to look at.
Yeah.
Is fixing their recruitment and just hoping that after a full preseason next season, players really
It
do
gets,
buy
yeah.
into Amorim's style, learn how to
Mm.
play it properly, and Luke Shaw comes back from injury so that we can fucking sell him for a decent amount of money. I don't want him to
He is
play
not
for
coming.
us also.
He's
I
not
just
coming.
want him to be fit enough that he can be put in the shop window and be like, see, it is not broken, guys. It is actually like this only. It is unboxed iPhone.
ये
It is
मॉडल
the
में
right.
ऐसे ही आता है.
हाँ, ये मॉडल में वो क्रैक है ना, वो फीचर है, वो इशू नहीं है. It is product feature. So-
But contrary to popular opinion, I am on Luke Shaw's side. On
In
this
terms of
entire-
what?
I think he gets a lot of hate for no reason. I just want to put this out there.
I mean,
I am-
yeah, because but the problem is because he keeps getting injured so easily,
But you think of it
it
this
becomes
way.
a joke. No,
No, we think of it this way. This guy had at 24 or 23
double
had
leg break.
had a double leg break,
Yeah.
which is a firstly, if history has been whatever witness, you don't come back from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't walk, forget running, forget playing at this
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
So I think that the day that happened and when he came back, I think this was the kind of career he was always going to
Yeah.
have. Happened with Phil Jones
Yeah.
by the end, like towards the large part of his career. He was just like one injury, one bad injury, and then it just keeps coming up. And a lot
Yeah.
of times, recovery is here.
Yeah.
If you are not strong enough here, and I've seen some cases even during my time at Mumbai City, I've seen some cases where, especially this one particular case, I won't go into too much detail about it, but there was a player who had suffered, I would probably say 3 or 4 injuries at the same time on his
Oh
knee.
shit.
And there was, I mean, if you saw it, you would think this guy's never going to walk again.
Oh,
But
damn.
that guy, I mean, it's all here, right? He fought back. He came back to play professional football in the ISL again, and it's great. I mean, it's all here. But sometimes it's the opposite as well. Players
Yeah.
just wallow. They're too distracted with social media. They don't
Yeah.
focus on their recovery.
Yeah.
So it entirely depends. I don't know what kind of a personality
Yeah.
that way Luke Shaw is, but
Yeah.
that injury, I don't blame him.
It's very tough to
really
come
don't.
back. Yeah.
I
Fair
don't blame.
enough. Fair enough. But I'm glad you brought up Mumbai City because let's get towards wrapping up the show by talking
Yeah.
about Mumbai City, a team that we both support,
Yeah.
and a team that might cause people to question our intentions considering the ownership that owns Mumbai City FC,
That's true. That is
which is
true.
a big bone of contention, which is like how does that work, guys? I mean, like, it's okay. They're two separate teams, they're two separate leagues. It can still work. But Mumbai City have not been having a great season this season, man. Sixth in the table or fifth in the table now.
Fifth right now.
Fifth in the table right now. Yeah.
You don't know
It's-
actually. Northeast would have just finished. I don't know if they won.
Yeah, we'll have to
Hold
check
on.
up on
Okay.
those results. But
Yeah.
as of recording, still in the playoff
Hmm.
spot. So while the league shield has been taken by Mohun Bagan, who we had to give them a guard of honor on Saturday, unfortunately, which is just Annujj's
thought I-
expression says it all.
Never, I was there. I was watching it. Never thought I would see that. But yeah, I mean,
But,
sports, it's the right
It's
way
the
to
sport.
do things.
It's the right way to do it, right? But so many talking points in that game. A cracker of a match. After going 2-0 down,
Yeah.
Mumbai City fought back and
Yeah.
made it 2-2 by the end. Two things that I wanted to quickly talk to you about. One is Subhashish Boska Oscar-winning performance to send Vikram Pratap Singh off.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in the stand, so I don't know how clear the view was for you. But man, watching it on the television, I was like, how is this not even like how is this a second yellow? There's nothing in it.
See, this is not the first time we've seen something like this happen.
Yeah.
Years
Yeah.
on years. Like all the way from Sergio Busquets against Inter Milan, all those the peep gate.
Yeah.
It's not new. I personally I worked with Subhashish. He's ex Mumbai City, so I know what a character he can be. But then that's the character he'll do that for his team.
Yeah.
And they did manage to get Vikram sent off. I think the real answer to this is get VAR, which is I don't
Yeah.
know when this is going to happen, but
Yeah.
because there was another handball in the game, also Subhashish,
Yeah.
which we could have much scored much sooner in the game,
Yeah.
but just get the league is screaming for VAR because our refereeing standard, and I know there's a lot of talk about referees being trained and there's new programs and all of that, but it's not you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's just getting worse here only.
It is. It is
But
like some horrific decisions.
yeah,
Like
it's
just
without going too much in that, but yeah, great game. I think Mohun Bagan, since they've been called Mohun Bagan, which is not very far, like it's very recent. I think every single time they've come to Mumbai, it has been a cracking game.
yeah.
Every single time. I think 3 games they've not beaten us obviously in Mumbai
Yeah.
yet, but
Yeah. 2 draws,
Jesus,
1
there's
win for
a
Mumbai.
2 draws and 1 win. But both those draws, I don't know if you remember the first 2-2. Were you there? You there at the game?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The last minute Carl McHugh equalizer.
Yeah.
That I've had people who've been pundits on Premier League shows and panels say that that was probably the best ISL game they've ever seen in 10 years.
Yeah.
So this game never disappoints. I was waiting because I haven't been able to go to all the games, and especially with the West Coast Brigade.
Yeah.
This game I was lucky enough. Everything just aligned, and I was in the stands with them watching this one, and oh, what an experience! I think we got lucky. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
with that
let's
goal.
be very honest, but we'll take what we can get, man. Like still a
this
cracker
season,
of a
yeah.
game,
Yeah,
and yeah,
in this season where you lost or like conceded 3 goals at home on 4 different occasions, I will take
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
I think it was a
exactly.
good sign of intent, and I think Kratky also said it in the post match that we didn't want another 3-0.
Yeah,
We had to change that narrative, and
Yeah.
we probably said it a little too late in the season, but
yeah. But man, better late than never, So
better late
that's
than
the
never.
that's the one thing. The
Yeah.
other thing, just
Hmm.
talking about sitting with the West Coast Brigade, that moment where a lot of cash was showered on our former midfield maestro Apuya.
Yeah.
Apuya, of course,
And Greg.
and Greg. Yeah, but
Yeah,
the story is still more Apuya for some reason. Like Greg was whatever similar.
Yeah.
For context, for listeners who might not have context, Greg Stewart of Mumbai City FC said he was feeling homesick and he wanted to leave, and so he left to play, I think, half a season for Kilmarnock in the Scottish League, and then promptly came back to Mohun Bagan saying, "Kidhar gaya tera homesickness abhi bhai? What? Acha, matlab you just wanted more money." Apuya, on the other hand, was another fantastic player for Mumbai City FC. Ran the midfield, and then triggered a release clause. Was it?
That's
like
right,
he
yeah.
self-triggered a release clause because Mohun Bagan was interested and he wanted to go play for Mohun Bagan, and the club did not obstruct that move or make that move difficult in any way. But
You can't.
Apuya,
It's a release clause at the end of the day.
yeah, but I mean, it was thought that he would have left under certain amicable conditions, but then for Apuya to go and tell the media that Mumbai City made him a better player so he can help Mohun
Help
Bagan.
Mohun Bagan.
कहाँ से हेल्प करेगा अपुया? बेंच से. बेंच वार्मिंग में बहुत हेल्प किया तूने भाई.
I mean, that club is I don't know, but they win. They win.
do
They
win.
do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
quite literally. But yeah. But that's how Mohun Bagan has always been, right? I mean, even back in the olden days of the NFL, not even the I League.
Yeah.
I think it's like this urban myth that
Yeah.
anytime a player scored against Mohun Bagan went and signed him.
Signed.
So you're just looking at that in the modern version of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was there when that happened. I think it's a bit on the chin considering our ownership and
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
background. But
Yeah.
who doesn't love banter? I mean, I was there. I met Abuya after the game. He was all smiles. I don't think he's
Yeah.
one of those guys who doesn't really care about what
Yeah,
people
yeah.
think about him.
I think he was smiling when he was walking down the tunnel with the cash as well, right? Because I feel like with footballers, no, they also know it's banter, and
Yeah.
like shout out to the West Coast Brigade also, because this is a fucking brilliant piece of shithousery. Like, this is top
Very great.
tier shithousery from a fan group. To be able to do that on a player as he's walking into the tunnel, I think that's hilarious. The fact that Apoya also takes it on the chin, has a
Yeah.
smile, acknowledges it to a certain extent, maybe not outwardly, but you
Yeah.
could see that he was like, "Ha, matlab, I get it." There's a weird begrudging sense of respect in the banter as well, which is kind of nice to see.
I mean, I you see these things on TV, on social media happening. Like, I think Donnarumma, when he went to Milan back for the first time,
Yeah,
there were notes being thrown on
yeah,
him
yeah,
back from like behind his goal.
yeah.
But you would only see these things in TV. So I mean, great top quality banter is well and truly here in Indian football.
Exactly.
Even if VAR isn't, but
Yeah. One
but
step at a time, guys.
one
One
step at
step
a time.
at a time.
No, but
Uh,
kudos to the West Coast Brigade, guys. I think
yeah.
in a season like this, and I don't know, I mean, if you could feel that from all the videos or all the messages I've seen so far after that game, what an atmosphere!
Yeah.
What an atmosphere
Fantastic.
that day!
Fantastic stuff.
I think that
Absolutely.
has to be the best home game of the season for
Yeah.
sure. I know the
Yeah.
result was like whatever, but it's when they showed up. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Hopefully we can do that one more time. Let's see if we do make it to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. On that note, it is time to end this episode. Thank you so much, Anuj, for joining us. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought of this episode, you can reach us on our social media. Anuj, your Instagram is
It's Anuj. It's exactly what you see on the screen. So you
at
can always,
ANNUJJ.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is Anuj. You
that's
can
right.
find me on Instagram at Amogh. You can also follow the Corner Flag on Instagram at Corner Flag Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@cornerflagpod. Or also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Shout out to Kezad Gurda for composing our theme tune. And until next week, it is goodbye from us to say bye, Anuj.
Bye bye, guys. See you soon. Hopefully, not. I won't have to wait 7 years this time.
Yeah, hopefully not. A lot more regularly for sure. Now that you're not with Mumbai City and you're not as busy as you once were, we can make this happen a lot more.
Looking forward to it.
All
Thanks,
right.
Amogh.
Thank you so much, Anuj, and it's bye from me.